Hello, everyone. I am meteorologist Hutch Johnson joining you on this Monday evening as many travelers across the nation are getting ready or are already in the travel mode. We're going to look at the national weather impacts as we go through today and the rest of the holiday week into the weekend ahead. We do have some wintry weather making its way into the New England states, a system off the Pacific Northwest getting ready to impact the western reaches of the United States with some weather. We'll look in on the Alaska area as well as we head into the next 24 hours. We're going to talk about what's impacting the areas right now, but because of the current weather situation, how about we start with a look at some of the most recent airport delays across the nation. For that, we're going to check out a website right here. This one is called Flight Aware, and it gives us the basics with regards to the main hub airports. Where you see the green dots, things are moving along smoothly. We see one red dot, that's Toronto there, with some delays that are being reported there of significance. So if we click on that, the delays in and around the Toronto area are averaging 44 minutes, but they are decreasing. You can see on the radar here, we have some inclement weather working its way through that particular area. The only other airport in the region, Winnipeg, taking place up there. Some huge, dense fog and recent icing from the system making its way through here may be the result or causing the delays of 35 minutes in this area. And right now, those delays are increasing for the Winnipeg airport. Otherwise, from Minneapolis to Denver, all the way down into the Atlanta airport, Dallas and Houston, even the southwestern United States, things are looking pretty good. Now, as we look up into the area near Alaska, also as we look in on Anchorage, things are looking okay there for air travel and likewise for the Hawaiian Islands. So that's a look at the national weather impacts on air travel. Let's take a look at what's going on with the national weather watches and warnings that we have going on across the area right now. And to do that, we'll take a look at this particular radar view. Now, what we're going to start with is what's going on in Alaska. There is a good old-fashioned warning there for wintry weather taking place in that particular area. If you do have a question, by the way, I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. I've been a broadcaster for the better part of 28 years, and now I'm streaming for you right here on YouTube, as well as my Facebook channel and my website, hutchesweather.com. Up in Alaska, the red counties you see there, well, that is a good old-fashioned winter storm warning taking place there for the next 15 hours. And the National Weather Service says the upper Kubuk valleys and the lower Kubakuk Valley can expect conditions to be stormy, wintry, windy, with 30 below wind chills. Frostbite will happen in as little as 30 minutes. And look at this, 18 inches of snow. Woo, a foot to 18 inches of snow. That's what Alaska's looking for as we head towards your Christmas Eve tomorrow across the region. Now, look at the West Coast with that system making landfall. Seattle, Olympia, Portland, Salem, these areas of yellow, that is a winter storm watch for that system just offshore that will be making its way inward. As the track and the impacts become more clear, the local National Weather Service offices from Northern California near Eureka all the way to Seattle, Tacoma, and Portland will be showing us where the warnings will be issued. But there will be some potential for heavy snow. We'll talk about that here in a minute. In the area of Fresno, out to the west in the mountains, check this out. Winter storm warning for the next hour or so as an exiting system is dumping some significant snow there. That's triggered, that system, a winter weather advisory and some wind advisories across portions of Nevada heading into the evening. In these Central Plains states, look at this. This is fog. Now, what's going on here? We have had very icy weather with temperatures as low as 25 below zero in the northern plains of North Dakota. Fresh snow on the ground, clear skies, and it got really cold. Now we have south winds punching the warmth back into parts of western South Dakota and western North Dakota. As that happens, that warm, moist air is sliding over the snowbanks here and creating some seriously dense fog. Visibilities are a mile or less in and around places like Bismarck, North Dakota, Fargo. The roads coated with a sheet of ice in the oil patch of northwestern North Dakota continue to be icy across much of North Dakota, eastern South Dakota, and western Minnesota heading into the nighttime hours. The fog extends all the way through east central parts of Nebraska and Sioux Falls, the I-29 corridor of South Dakota also impacted, and the I-90 corridor from, say, Sioux Falls out towards Worthington in southern Minnesota in that dense fog advisory. Now the East Coast. Let's go to the actual watches, warnings, and advisories there. In Michigan, the upper northern part of Michigan, not the UP, the northern part of Michigan, north of Detroit, seeing a winter weather advisory in blue. That's for snow that's happening with the system making its way through. A couple of areas have winter storm warnings, though, as we zoom in just a bit closer. North of Montpelier out here, we're seeing a winter storm warning. For the next 9 hours, this system will be impacting travelers through the elevated terrain there of northern parts of Virginia and as well as New Hampshire. Now, as we get out to the east of Bangor, we do have a winter storm warning in effect for the next 9 hours there as well. Back to the radar we go, and we'll take a look at what's going on in the Northeast first. So let's go ahead and zoom our radar into the New England states out here, where we do have the snow impacting air travel and road travel. Now, this is a good old-fashioned winter weather event that's making its way through Grand Rapids, Michigan right now. That's where the low-pressure center is, but its snow extends all the way out towards Ottawa, as well as Burlington, Vermont. Now, Buffalo, South Dakota, Buffalo, New York, seeing snow showers as well. Toronto seeing snow bands make their way through, and this extends all the way back to Detroit. So some wet weather showing up near Sandusky and Cleveland, Ohio right now, and mixed precipitation just outside of Detroit and Toledo. Could have some icy conditions on area roads. For that, we'll take a quick peek at Michigan roads here as I pull up that latest report from the Michigan Department of Transportation. Here's what you need to know as we take a look at this map here. This shows us the area cameras that we have available to us as we look in the southern part of the state. Let's go right down into that Detroit area and point south there, where we showed that there could be some icing on area roads. Heavy traffic being shown here as we look into parts of eastern Michigan right now, but I don't see any evidence of significance with regards to the snowpack. Now, up in northern Michigan, we were seeing as we get up to the north here that there was more snow. So here's a look at Flint, and what we have going on there is a flaky mess going on. So, well, the stream isn't available at this time, but we can see in Flint. Look at the reduced visibility on the image shown there from the Michigan Department of Transportation. So some tricky travel through parts of Michigan. Let's check out New York State, shall we? And we'll go ahead and take a look at the latest road conditions in the New England states as well. But let's start with New York. New York State having snow on the western reaches, and where you see the pink roads here, the key on this map shows that those are definitely some that are being impacted by some snow and or ice on area roads. We're talking about the northernmost reaches near Champlain, as well as all the way out toward the Hudson area as we head into the northern reaches of New York. So these areas are impacted by some bands of snow. Let's check in on this area here and take a look at the, well, we got some serious traffic gridlock going on out here in upstate New York right now. And as we sneak down just a little bit farther down near the Syracuse area, take a look at a couple of the pictures here. Let's see if we got some snow showing up on area roads. It looks like wet, but there is some snow on the side of the roads, so definitely some impacts in parts of New York. Now, the New England cams, where we have winter storm warnings going on. Let's take a look at the DOT reports from this particular area. The snowfall not really taking hold yet. It's just now moving into the northern reaches of New York and northern parts of New Hampshire and Maine, heading towards Vermont and Burlington as well. Let me take a look as we zoom in on this and see what we're seeing as far as the road conditions go. By the way, what you're looking at here on the roads, the blue color means that we have basically standard conditions going on area roads. And as far as the cameras go here, I'm trying to see if I can turn them on so I can select one for us here in the areas where we're seeing a little bit more in the way. So let's get up nearby Quebec City here and see if any cameras pop up. Nope, I'm not seeing that. Let's go down south just a little bit, get back into the lower 48 here. And here is a look as we go into the Portland area. Oh, pardon me. Masonville, Portland, Jay. No live camera feed at this time. Let's try another one up here. Okay, this is Vermont 114 in the north side. You can certainly see that there's been some wet, heavy snow in the area. Remember, the warnings for some of these areas in Vermont, New Hampshire, and out in towards Maine are in effect for the next 12 to 24 hours. So there will be some impacts there on the way with the system that's working its way through. Now a look at the road conditions in the northern plains. Let's go up to Minnesota and show you the fog impacts that are taking place up there. Minnesota Department of Transportation keeping its eyes on the skies. Here's where we have the dense fog advisory. Pink roads in Minnesota, by the way, are completely covered with ice. So we have a batch of fog or a dense fog advisory in southwestern parts of Minnesota as well as the northwestern part of the state at this particular time. If you're traveling along that I-94 corridor between, say, Minneapolis and the Fargo area, by the closer you get to Fargo, we do have some significant icing problems. There have been a number of crashes, and this extends all the way out into North Dakota on I-94 as well. So that fog advisory definitely showing up here on the area cameras across the region of northwestern and western Minnesota with icy roads as well. Temperatures in these parts, by the way, are in the teens, so wet roads, quickly icy roads. As we look right in on the Fargo area right now, we can see that there's been some significant fog, ice, and slippery road conditions right into the eastern reaches of North Dakota. So that's what we have going on across the area. Now let's take a look at the national map over the next couple of days, get you your forecast, and then we'll get you on about your business. With regards to the forecast, I'm going to open up a model that goes out several days. This will be the European model, so let's take a look at what it has to say over the next couple of days through the weekend and beyond. Now, as we go through, the farther out in time we go, the lower confidence that I have in these forecasts and the precise track that they're showing. But here's the system moving through the northeastern United States. That's going to bring snow as we go through Christmas Eve morning, and it lasts all the way until Christmas Eve evening before exiting, and that's good news for Santa and his sleigh. However, on the west coast, the system will make its way out of the Sierra Nevada and out of the Cascades and head into the northern Rockies of Idaho and the west. So as that system continues to track westward, it will move into Wyoming and Colorado, but western reaches of the mountains as we go into Christmas Day. So the western Rockies of Wyoming, Colorado will see Christmas Day snow by the end of Christmas Day. Into the night following on Thursday, we are going to see that next system from the Pacific Northwest trudge its way into the Pacific Northwest with bands of very heavy snow and wind. And it's not one, but two waves. One that comes on Thursday and another wave on Friday. So very active weather in the Pacific Northwest. Now we'll look at snowfall potential in two different areas. We'll look at the northeastern United States and we'll look at the Pacific Northwest for snowfall, as those will be the two greatest impacted by snowfall expected in the coming days up to the heavy travel weekend ahead. So if we take a look at the snowfall potential in the New England states as we go up into the northern parts of New York, northern halves of Vermont, as well as all the way up into Maine, we're going to see several areas in the white to pink colors here that have a decent shot at over 4 or 6 inches of snow. Keep that in mind. It will come with the bag of wind as well. There could be snow as far south as southern New York, but Long Island here, maybe just a few flurries. Same thing goes. Western parts of Massachusetts, you may see some of the snow showers impacting you as well into the southern reaches of Vermont and New Hampshire. And this will, in fact, impact parts of western Pennsylvania and western New York State as we go through. Toronto, yep, you will see some significant snow impacts from this system. This is snowfall potential, by the way, through Thursday, and that system is out of the area as we go into the late week and weekend ahead. Now, as we look at the Pacific Northwest and parts of Idaho and Colorado, let me reposition this map. In fact, I'm going to resize it right in front of us here so we can see all the way into the mountains of northern parts of California and also into the mountains of northern Idaho. So the first system doesn't really start impacting Colorado and parts of western Wyoming with some snow in the mountains, not terrible amounts of snow as we go through Christmas Eve. Now, the first wave of snowy weather works its way into the Cascades. Snoqualmie Pass seeing some significant snow potential there. Over 6 inches possible in the pinks, remember that. I don't necessarily pay particular attention to the precise numbers these models put out for these areas because they are a larger scale model. They tend to overblow some of these numbers. Now, in the Sierra Nevada, we're expecting over 6 inches out east of Fresno as that system works its way in. Then comes punch number 2 as we get into Thursday and Friday, and here it comes. So we're going to add insult to injury in the Cascades, Snoqualmie Pass, all the way through the mountains of Central Oregon, as well as Northern California, seeing a little bit from that. That one moves into parts of The basin, just off to the east and north of you, I expect the chance for over 4 to 6 inches of snow and significant amounts, even more significant, in the elevated terrain as you get up in the northern parts of Idaho and western Montana. The snowfall does continue all the way through the weekend ahead in these areas as this system is pretty much stalled off of the Pacific Northwest, throwing waves of energy our way. All right, I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. I really am wishing you the merriest of Christmases and Happy New Year to all of you as we go through the next couple of weeks. It really looks like the coasts will have the main impacts, the Central Plains having some, in the northern parts, some impacts from, looks like fog and icy roads. The Southern Plains could have some passing showers, but it doesn't look to be too widespread. You can always get the latest on hutchesweather.com. I sure do appreciate the likes and the follows on Facebook, and subscribe right here on YouTube by hitting the subscribe button. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and safe travels to you and yours.